YouTube, how you doing? Java Kid Programming here today. I'm going to bring you another tutorial, and basically I just wanted to give you an update at first and kind of apologize for my absence over the past year and a bit. Now, the reason I've been absent over the past year and a bit is because when I actually started doing YouTube, I was in my beginning of the second year of A levels, which is my A2 year. At the beginning of AS, I thought it would be kind of a big step from GCSE, so I gave it time before I started YouTube and things like that. And halfway through, I found that I could manage with it, and I still have that free time to do something that I enjoyed, and that was making video tutorials. So as I started and I began getting into my courses more, I found that the workload was a bit too much, as well as coming home, making a video, and then having time to myself, doing my homework, and then going to bed and stuff like that. I just found it a bit unreasonable to be doing all those things. So I thought I'd give the YouTube scene a bit of a break and come back to it when I had a bit more time on my hand, because I just wanted to focus on A levels, get into university, and then from there I knew that it would be a bit more relaxed. I'd have more time on my hands and I could come back to YouTube anytime I wanted, basically. And since doing so, I've gotten into the University of Westminster, and I'm currently studying software engineering. I think it's a great course, and at the minute we're doing Java programming. Now, the way the course is split is there's four modules. There's Computer System Fundamentals, which is more about how the machines work, networking, the physical aspects of machine code and things like that. Then we have Mathematics for Computing, which is all the maths behind the computing, basically. It's in the title. And then we have Software Development Principles, which is got to do with Java programming, C++ programming, every type of programming you need to learn we do in that module. And then the fourth module is the projects module, which is specifically for Java, but it's more of a every time you get a coursework, they'll tell you what the specification of the coursework is, and then in those tutorials you can go do your coursework. If you need any questions, then you could ask the professors in the lecture, and basically they'll help you with your coursework. So that explains that. And again, I'm sorry for any of you who have been looking for content over the past year, but I'm back now. I should be uploading at least 3 to 4 tutorials a week, hopefully. And the way I'm going to structure the tutorials from now on is not the structure that I used to take up, which is go in sequence from the previous video. The structure I'm going to take this time is basically whatever I do in university, I'm going to come back home and I'm going to do a tutorial about it. And I think that's also beneficial for myself as well as you guys, because you guys are learning at the same time as I can practice. So that will just improve my knowledge as well, and I can help you guys with any problems that you have. So that explains that. Now, another major thing is I've moved on from Eclipse IDE. The reason for that being is apparently you don't use Eclipse or any text-based IDEs in university. Instead, you use the IDEs which have the integrated GUI components, which is the visual aspects of programming, and the development environment they've used is NetBeans IDE. So I'm sorry if I've told you to use Eclipse in the past. You're going to have to get used to a new program, which is NetBeans IDE. It's not exactly that much different from Eclipse. You can get used to it literally within the first time you use it. And let me just show you how to download it first. So if you want to go onto Google and you type in NetBeans IDE, it's going to be the first link, netbeans.org. You want to click download. Then depending on what system you have, they have a list of, if you have Mac, if you have Windows, all of that things. Now, the IDE development environment you want to go for is the one that has all in it. You're just going to click download on that, and it will automatically detect that your operating system is Windows or Mac or something like that, and it will start downloading the IDE. Now, once that file has finished downloaded and you've fully installed NetBeans, I can't exactly take you through that because I've already installed it myself, but it's literally just next, finish, that's it. You just want to open up NetBeans firstly, which is this program over here. Now, as you see, it's going to have a different layout to Eclipse, but I promise you it's a much better program than Eclipse. You'll learn to love it more than Eclipse, and it has more features than Eclipse as well, so I think it's more beneficial for you guys. So here is the what the IDE looks like. Now here, this middle part here is where you'll be doing your coding. This is the runtime environment, so after you execute your code, this is where all the output will be placed, and on the left hand side here, you can see a list of all the projects that you've started. Now, I've only started 2 because one was my first coursework, which is actually for the software development principles module, and the second one was my histogram course, which I'm working on now, which is actually due on the 2nd of December, but I've already finished that because it wasn't that tricky. And okay, so before we jump into that, what I'm going to be covering today is while loops. Now, you guys may have remembered in the previous tutorial that I've done, I did a tutorial on if statements. If you guys haven't seen that video, please go back and watch it. It's going to make more, when watching this video, you'll have more of an understanding of what I'm trying to talk about. Now, if statements versus while statements. Basically, as you've seen in the previous video, tutorial, if statements have this kind of format, and what we're doing in this bit of code, we can say that we're defining a new variable and calling it x. Now, our condition is that if x is less than or equal to 10, we're going to do what's in this line of code right here, which is the system.out.println, and then the value of x, and then increment x by 1. However, as you can see here, it's just saying if a condition is true, then execute this, and then it ends. So basically, what happens if we wanted to display all the numbers from 0 to 10, and then once it got greater than 10, then stop the program? Well, we can't do that with an if statement, because an if statement is just saying a one burst, if this is true, do that. That's it. It doesn't do any more than that. It's just for conditional operation. So we're saying if x is less than 10, print out the value of x, and then increment x by 1. End of program. Now, what this limits us is we can't actually see what the program is doing, as in incrementing it by 1 every time, and it's not printing out the value of 1, so we can't see that it's actually going through the different stages. Instead, it's just printing out the value of x while it is less than 10, and then adding 1 to it, and then ending the program completely. So x, in this case, after the program has finished, would be 1. Now, while statements, on the other hand, or while loops, as we like to call them, we have the variable x, which is given the value of 0. Now, they're exactly the same as if statements, same format, same parameters, same curly brackets, and basically, instead of having if, we just have this while. Now, as I stated earlier, if statements is just a one burst kind of thing, while statements is while a condition is true. So, if this condition is true, then continue doing it until the condition becomes untrue. Okay, so as we can see here, we have the condition being as while x is less than or equal to 10. So as we can see, the integer x is less than or equal to 10, is actually less than 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the brackets, and we're going to say that print out the value of x and increment x by 1. So x is now going to be 1. Is x or less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. Now we're going to hop into the brackets again, print out x and increment it by 1, and so on and so forth, until eventually we get either x is greater than 10, which is going to be 11, and then the program will stop. So now, the way we program this is we are going to hop into NetBeans IDE. Let me just show you how to use the program at first. We're going to click this button over here, which is the new project button. As you can see here, they have a list of categories: Java, C++, HTML, XML, all the different coding environments that you get. But the one we want is in the Java folder, and it's called the Java application. We're going to give our project a name, and for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to call it while loop. And we're going to say create main class. Don't forget the create main class bit. Okay, because this automatically creates a public static void main string arg, so you don't have to do all the extra coding. So as you can see, it's added a project here on the left hand side, and the file we're going to be working with is whileloop.java. This is the file we're going to be running. It is the exact same as Eclipse IDE, as I said before, and you'll learn to love this program. I think it's amazing. So to start entering a code, where it says to do code application logic here, we're just going to click after the here and press enter. Now this is where we're going to start coding. We're actually going to do the same program that I just showed you in the presentation, and just show you that it actually works. So we're going to define x, which is the integer, and we're going to assign it the value of 0. Now to start the while loops, remember, it's just the same as if statements. We're just going to write the word while, open brackets, which is where our condition will go. So we're going to say, for this purpose, if x is less than or equal to 10, then carry out this bit of code. If I can just scroll down here a bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. So while this condition is true, which is x is less than or equal to 10, sorry, carry out this bit of code. So we're going to want to print out to the user system.out.println the value of x, and because x is a variable, we do not use speech marks. If we wanted to display something to the user, we would use speech marks, instead of writing which variable we want to display. So in this case, we want to display the variable x, and then after that, we're going to increment x by 1. So x is equal to x plus 1. And basically, we're just going to save that project. Okay, so let me just run through this code once again. We're defining a new variable. We're going to call it x. X is an integer, and it's given the value of 1. As I said before, while loops are the exact same as if statements. We just use the word while, give the condition, and then open curly brackets in which we want the code to execute for while the condition is true. So while x is less than or equal to 10, we want to print out the value of x and then have x incremented by 1. Once x is 11, this program will stop executing. Now if we just go ahead and run this, the way you do that is just click the play button at the top, and as you can see at the bottom here, it will display all the values until 10, and then after 10 we can say x is 10. Is x less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. So we outprint the value of x, which is 10, and we increment it by 1. So x is now 11. Is x less than or equal to 10? No, it's not, because x is 11. Therefore the program is going to stop executing. So this is the way the while loops work. I hope you guys have found this tutorial helpful. I'm sorry once again for having such a long delay in my video tutorial, but I promise you from now on I'll start uploading more frequently. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. Catch you later.